So I really wasn't planning on making a video today, but this message just feels like it really wants to come through, and I don't know what it's going to be. So it's on this topic of, are you moving away from something or are you moving towards it? I think as someone who has spent a lot of my life trying to improve and become better and do better and better, perfectionist, people pleaser, you name it, all the patterns that didn't serve me or my authentic self, they were all there to try to move me away from a life and from things that I thought I didn't want, things that I thought were too painful to be with, things that I thought, this cannot possibly be what it means to be living my best life, my most aligned life. This can't be what happiness, fulfillment, peace, ease, and presence feels like. And I would project this image of a safe place, a happy place, where once I got there, then all of these things would just suddenly fall away, and all the difficulty, all the hardships, all the pain that I found myself in those moments where I wanted to escape from, would just suddenly be gone, and that I would be happy and free and peaceful forever, and that things would be easy. And while this is a beautiful dream to have, as I've gotten older, I realized that it's just not realistic. And nobody really talks about this part of the disillusionment process, the grief, the heartbreak, the almost feelings of self-betrayal that happen when you get to that place and you realize that it was just an image. And this thing that you've been chasing or moving towards is actually just showing you that you've been running away from yourself and from your life. And so I feel like there is so much to be said for those hearts that are aching to be somewhere else right now. I feel you. I've been there. I still find myself, even after all of the healing work that I've done, all of the spiritual work that I've done, the inner work, there are still many times when I find myself asking myself, why? Why am I doing all of this? What is this all for? Where am I going? Where is this leading? Where is this path taking me? And in this season, in this last few years of my life, I feel like Spirit has really asked me to surrender, to just let go of control, to let go of the things that I think I need to be doing from my human mind, and just allow my life to take the shape that it was meant to. And that's been an incredibly hard thing to do, much easier said than done. It's taken a lot of inner work, it's taken a lot of embodiment work to feel solid and to feel stable, as my body is sending me signals of the survival in me kicking up, right? Like the parts of us that want to get away from the life that we have now, the things that we aren't happy with, the things that we want to escape, those are actually dreams and desires and fears of those parts of ourselves that feel like they haven't had the safety that they've needed. They haven't had their needs met. They haven't been held. They haven't been supported or seen or heard. And so they feel like life would be so much better somewhere else where they have those things. And it's so interesting, and so while it's like part of that is true, that there is something perhaps missing from the present moment that is not being received, and that's causing all of this pain and perception of separation, and I'm here and the things that I want are over there. But really, for me, as I've moved through my own process, what I've realized is that the only missing piece has just been connecting to my body and being present. As in connecting to my body as a way of becoming present. Because when we're present, we're here in the now. We're not thinking about what happened yesterday. We're not thinking about what happened years ago and still holding on to the past patterns, and yet we're surrendered enough to not be looking too far into the future and worrying about that either. It's this letting go of both sides to a reasonable extent, whatever that looks like for each person, and coming back into this knowing in our bodies that we are safe and we are supported, and we may not know what is coming, or we may not know entirely where we're going, but that wherever it is, just having that trust that we are being led to somewhere better. Having faith that every feeling, every thought, every action, everything that comes towards us, everything that we lose in the process is for our highest good, and we're being guided towards what is meant for us. And in those moments when it feels like the opposite, when the body is sending us signals that make us feel fear, that make us feel anxiety, that make us feel self-doubt, self-criticism, make us feel pain and like we are suffering. These feelings that our bodies are showing us are not actually there to reflect back to us the truth of the reality that we think we're in, which is one of hardship, difficulty, discomfort, but it can actually be a reflection of, it can actually be an opportunity for us to choose the way that we see it, the way that we experience it. Yes, all of these feelings are here, they're present, they're very real in the body. And when we have the tools, when we have the resources, the understanding to know that our bodies are giving us the opportunity to relieve those feelings, to soothe them, to attune to them, and to come to a place of safety, then we can create a different story. When we have enough experiences of meeting ourselves in those difficult moments and being able to bring ourselves to a point of peace, of greater safety, of greater soothing, then we can really say that it's going to be okay. We don't even have to tell ourselves that. Our body already knows. Our body already can know by the way that it feels in response to what we are doing, saying, thinking, feeling, that we are going to be okay, that things are not as bad as we think that they are. I've experienced this so many times firsthand when I've been in some moments that felt like rock bottoms. I felt like it could not be worse than this. The feelings of disappointment, of rejection, of failure, of abandonment, like all of these things being triggered up inside me through these feelings of fight or flight in my nervous system, through pain and tension in my body, through just anxiety, through spinning thoughts, catastrophizing. These are all felt symptoms of a body that feels disconnected, from a body that feels unsupported, ungrounded, from a body that just wants to be held, wants to be felt in a safer way, and wants to be connected with. All of our parts live inside of our bodies, and they're telling us through our sensations what we're actually experiencing on the inside. They're letting us know our authentic thoughts, our feelings, our desires, our fears, our beliefs. And through the language of sensation, when we learn to really listen, we can understand like what it is that we truly want. It can be our guide, our guidance system when the world around us is spinning and we have nowhere else to turn to, and we want to just come back into ourselves, come home, and like have something reliable that feels, you know, rooted and anchored, something that is true. And I've continuously found that from within my body, within myself. And you can find the actual tools of how I do that inside my Listening to Your Body course. There are 4 skills that make up the overarching skill of listening to your body. And you'll know that you're having success with that if you're actually being able to create shifts in the way that you feel in the moment. You know, whether that's a physical symptom, a physical pain or tension that relieves in the moment, or you know, a few days, weeks later, after you've put your conscious attention and understanding towards it, whether that is an emotional relief that you might feel after understanding the feelings that are truly underneath the surface, whether that is mental clarity, maybe your thoughts and your perceptions will literally change when you feel safe and grounded in your body. In those rock bottom moments, I went from thinking that my life is over to just a few days later of doing these practices that anchor me into safety in my body and my nervous system, to actually watching my mind change its perception into, oh, this isn't so bad. This is actually doable. This is manageable. I can see a way out of this. And I didn't do any mindset work to make this happen. All I did was focus on bringing safety into my body. And also, not to mention, you know, the spiritual alignment that can, and clarity of intuition that you receive when you are connected to your source of truth and wisdom, which is your body. So whoever needs to hear this today, are you moving away from a life that you don't want to be living in for whatever reason? Are there things you want to get away from? Or are you moving towards something better? It's a fine line between running from something that you don't want anymore versus allowing yourself from a place of worthiness, deservingness, and self-love to say that I want better. And both can be true at the same time. I lived in that place for a long time, thinking that all the healing and all of the self-development, self-improvement work that I was doing was helping me move towards a better life. And underneath all of that, there was a lot of self-criticism, a lot of low self-worth patterning happening that was causing me to actually chip away at my own confidence, my secureness, my self-esteem. And actually underneath the surface, even though it looked like I was getting what I wanted, it looked like my life was improving, it actually felt like that gap was widening of me and who I thought I was versus who I wanted to be. And when we involve our body in the process, instead of widening that gap, and we actually bridge it, because we are listening to how we truly feel. We are honoring the parts of ourselves that are not wanting to be where we are now, and we're actually bringing them along for the ride. We're not pushing them away. We're not dismissing them, neglecting them, overriding them, shaming them, judging them. But instead we're listening, we're holding space, letting them know we understand, and getting to a place of understanding of, I understand why you feel that way. Of course you would. given all of your past experiences, given the way that the things that you were taught, given the way people treated you, etc., etc. And at the same time, let's move you towards something better. We're not in those situations anymore. Let's bring you into the present moment and let's move forward from here. So that's the kind of self-dialogue, that's the kind of relationship I have with myself now. And even now, as I'm, very much still on the path of moving toward the life that I desire to create for myself and to live, I still have moments where I think to myself, like, am I still doing this for the right reasons? What is my intention? I still check in with myself, and because I want to come from a place of wanting better for myself, not because I'm shunning or shaming or rejecting the life that I have now. I love my life. I love even the hardest parts of it. I've come to appreciate and feel grateful for, because of the tools that I have to be able to sit with the difficulty, the pain, the hardship, and move through it towards what's on the other side. I wasn't able to say that when I was very much still identifying with that story and with the pain and the suffering and the difficulty. It is all consuming. I've been there too, having suffered with chronic pain for many years, and also just having chronic low self-worth and chronic people-pleasing, perfectionism and all that. I know what it's like to have to carry this feeling. And what I do want you to know, though, is that things do get better when you commit to connecting with yourself from a place of compassion and healing. That energy that you create, that relationship that you create, that intention is more healing than anything else that I've ever experienced. And I used to be a practitioner of holistic healing, so I have experienced and also learned a lot on that front as well. But by far, connecting to the body just through the listening skills that I teach in the Listening to Your Body course is how I've learned to sort of overcome that, and then creating safety in the body has been just game-changing as well. So if that's something, if you are in a place of feeling like there's this point where you're sort of like teetering between, okay, I've done so much work and healing and I've kind of like moved so far from where I was, but then I'm not like quite there into that what you would call like your dream self, or where you envision yourself to be, where you would like to be. There's sort of this, you're not as far as you were before you started, but you're somewhere along the way, and sometimes it can feel like you get stuck in this little point for a little while. And if that's you, then what I would recommend is embodiment work. Embodiment work has changed my life also in huge ways. And for those of you who are at this stage of the process, you can collect so much information, you can collect so many tools and resources and just have like a massive toolkit, which is awesome. But then not knowing how to use it, or just being overwhelmed by the number of tools that you have, and then just not being able to really use any of them effectively happens too. And then, or maybe you're just, things are just too complicated and you don't really know where to start. For those of you who are on that path, I would recommend my Embodied Worth course, where I show you 3 different somatic practices that you can do to connect with your body. The first one is to help bring safety into your nervous system. The second is to help you connect to your body and connect to the parts that we're talking about. So you'll have guided practices for that as well. And then the last one is through intuitive movement, so learning how to express yourself through your body, which helps when we don't really have the words to necessarily label or describe what it is that we're feeling. So the link to those resources and courses, if you're interested, is down in the descriptions box below. And if this video is helpful for you, leave me a comment, let me know what else you'd like to hear about, where you are on your journey, and thank you for tuning in. I'll check in with you next time.